12 years ago when I was building my house, being a visionary, I could see what a floor plan would look like. But, you move into your house and there are those little things I would have tweaked if I had had the opportunity to walk your floor plan. We have the pleasure of having Christy Kimbrel here today. She is a local boss babe, mama, entrepreneur. She just has creative juices just like flowing through her veins. And we are breaking down all the things and her new business that is really changing the landscape in real estate here in the Twin Cities. Let's dive in.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in. All right, Bus Bench babes, we have a treat today. We have Christy Kimbrel, and it's someone I've known for years. And we're not the best of friends, but I've known of you for so long, from Keller Williams days.
Yeah.
And I love that you are always solving problems for people within the industry. That's one of the things that I've always found most inspiring about you. And one of your most interesting new endeavors, we cross paths with Walk Your Plans. And I'm like, oh yeah, we need to have her on the podcast because you're solving problems, you're doing cool things. And so thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me. That's a really nice and generous compliment to, when people say what they think about you or when they think about you, what they think, right? So that's cool. I hadn't thought of it that way as problem solving for situations and things, for me at least, revolving around real estate. But yeah, so that is, I guess, a really good way to summarize this new venture with Walk Your Plans. It's been quite the journey so far. It's still fresh and new. We just opened middle of June. And so, yeah, we've been really excited and it's been really well received. So we're grateful.
Well, tell us about when you're not doing all of your business endeavors, what do you guys do for fun? What does your family life look like? And what are you guys out doing, keeping you busy?
Yes, that's fun. So we have 3 kids. We have a sophomore in college, a senior that is attending Holy Family this year, and then I have an 8th grader. So we're busy, in that phase of life with sports and, grad parties and, getting kids off to school and trying to plan. And so much less hands-on specifically, but still just as busy. And then in the midst of that, we decided to move and start a business. So free time fun is fairly limited. But if you were to find us enjoying our free time, you would find us probably on the lake. We still like to boat. We've been on and off the water over the years, and we have a boat. We enjoy doing that. The whole family does. And we all basically like one restaurant, so we eat sushi as a family.
What's your favorite sushi place out here?
We're Sakana fans in downtown Wayzata.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been there.
Yep.
They have an awesome happy hour, too.
I don't get there that early because of my life, but that would be fun to do happy hour someday.
Some girlfriends there, and we were like, why is it only $20 each? And we had delicious sushi.
Oh.
It was
I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
Make it a late lunch someday.
I have to. Yeah, when I can take a nap.
Kids sushi.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. Walk Your Plans. I think so many people have no idea what this is, and what inspired you to go down this path.
Yeah, business-wise, you're right. Most people don't know what it is, and that's been our opportunity for growing it, is trying to get the word out and let people know what it is and what it does. When I saw it on Instagram, I was instantly excited about it. I thought, why hasn't this been around for 20 years? My whole career, it's been an obstacle with new construction, trying to build or people understand plans visually. Any decision makers, let's just say there's often 2. One of them could understand and often the other doesn't. And 2 decision makers that can see a plan and mentally understand what it's going to be like to live in it are rarely together. Right. And so it's,
I'm sorry not to laugh. It's so true.
Right.
So true.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think about 25 or 30% of the population can take what would be on a black and white floor, blueprint, if you will, and envision what that would be like to live in it. And the other person has to kind of shoulder shrug and go along for the ride and just trust the process, trust their partner, trust the designer, trust the architect, trust the builder, that they're going to end up liking that space and it's going to work well for them, whether it's commercial or residential. And so I just really, we flew on a plane about 10 days later and went out to see it because there wasn't one in Minnesota. And then that gets me really excited about offering new things for our community and our industries that we work so closely with. And a couple weeks later, we were at a hockey tournament in Finland, and we just decided to bite the bullet and start another career and, open these doors and see what happens. I'm 48. I've been in real estate 25 years, and I really haven't been able to wrap my head around saying that I've been in real estate 40 years. Like, I think 25 is admirable and a nice history. And then 40 years for me just doesn't resonate. I don't want to say embarrassed, but I feel like I can do better. I like more. I don't want to still be doing open houses, even though I really enjoy what I do. I just am like, I maybe need a rebirth of how I help facilitate and use what I've learned so far to just do something different. And so
we've been talking about this a lot. You're like speaking our language right now.
Yeah. Like, so my own little mini midlife crisis, let's call it, but really just an opportunity to go, I can challenge myself more. And I think that's really what it boils down to. And when I say embarrassed for myself, because I really like building businesses and I really like taking on big opportunities. And I find extreme pleasure mentally in like unriddling a puzzle in my head, right? So whether it's been like another company that supports realtors, right? I do that with Kelly. That's Profile. We bought that from somebody and took that on. And so like just getting my hands in some of these things that make the lives of realtors easier, or the people, like it's just being on the front line of being able to see all these roadblocks for people to be able to find the best version of their business or find the best version of their vision for their house, or to be able to remove the fear that somebody might have from building a dream home. Because I bet there's a lot of people that would really like to have no idea where to start, or just know that they can't envision something. So if we can like somehow actually bring their dream to life, and I think with all the technological advancements with AI and all the things that are happening right now, like it's just going to just monumentally start snowballing into really cool ways to use the facility.
Well, describe for our listener, like, what is Walk Your Plans? Like, walk through like the nitty gritty of what it is and how it solves problems.
Yeah, we take blueprints and bring them to full scale on the floor. And so we can walk anywhere from 1,000 square feet to 50,000 square feet. And now we take that obviously in chunks. It's in a warehouse type facility. So think high ceilings, big space, 6 IMAX projectors putting it on the floor. And then we have an elevation wall. So you can see renderings, you can hit cabinet sections, you could put your fireplace section on the wall, pair it with the floor exactly, and you can actually feel like you're in the space.
It's the coolest thing ever.
The videos I've seen, I'm like, what is this?
It's so freaking
this is
cool.
So cool. Why wasn't this around always? I am just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and I am one of those people who can look at a plan and understand it, which is why we built new construction twice. My husband cannot. And so he just kind of has to nod, and I have to do a lot of explaining and a lot of trust. And, I really have enjoyed over the years repping new construction builders, helping them decide what spec to put up, like what changes to make, talking them through the plan and how that would fit and function for today's family, let's say. Or even my clients, when they have a plan, like I can mentally put my, kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right? And think about myself in that plan and kind of walk around for a while and see if I bump into things and which ways the door swings. Like my brain can do both of those things at the same time. So, and I realize how many people that I work with cannot do that. Mm-hmm. And so I have always spent a lot of time in my business, like consulting on those items. And this was just like, oh my gosh, what it takes me probably 10 hours over the term of a build job, I could do in 40 minutes, right, at Walk Your Plans. Because I wouldn't have to spend so much hard mental work doing it, you know, at 3 a.m. or whenever I'm thinking about which way the bathroom door is going to swing on that house, right or left, or which way the sun's going to rise. So ultimately, you're right. I think everybody we've talked to goes, why wasn't this here sooner? The technology isn't so over the top that it couldn't have been, which is a bummer. And we just saw it and thought there's so many people that can benefit, both commercial and residential, that we had to do it.
How long has the technology been around?
Well, I can't speak for its inception or the modifications that were made to the current projectors we have. So I'm sure the crispness and the color and the detail of what we're capable of doing today over what we could have done 10 years ago. But we're talking about projectors, right? IMAX cameras, right?
Forever.
Been around forever. So whether you could have figured it out back then, I think if you start Googling like where this first kind of concept was conceived, it's been around for at least 5 years or so, or I'll call it a number of years. The people that we partnered with at Walk Your Plans, they started theirs 3 years ago. So they went
it's fresh.
Yeah, the search of the solution to the problem, because they were building with multiple people across different states and trying to get the plan correct and trying to, collaborate, remotely, and trying to figure some of those things out while building in a different state as well. So this was a tool that they, kind of just put together as a solution, and then it eventually went viral, and which is where I saw it on Instagram,
where I saw it.
right? And
like, this is amazing,
and it blew up for them then. And so that location's been open 3 years. The other locations, I think we were like location 13 to open.
Okay.
Locations 2 and 3 have only been open like 7 months. So all of them are less than a year old, other than the original Ohio location. So Ohio spent the time like figuring out, okay, what do we charge? Where's the benefit? Who's the customer? How do we present this? Like what are the sales opportunities? What are the sales objections, right? And kind of tried to formulate a sales strategy, pricing, guides, and helping, the licensees understand. And so we license it from them, and it's been a great community. And so it's very Keller Williams-esque, if you will, very collaborative and very consultative. Cool. And so I, of course, gleam to that. That would be more my nature of share and decide and collectively, benefit from all the different kinds of people like me. Obviously they're not all realtors that open these. In fact, I think I'm one of the only ones. And so we all have a little bit different history or background. So lots to offer. So those calls are really cool. We talk once a week as a big group for those that are open, and then those that are waiting to open, and lots of cool things coming.
So how do you see this changing the home building process?
I don't know that I would use the word changing, but I think like amplifying might be a good word.
That's a good word.
That's good.
Yeah. So accentuating, bringing some clarity. And so to amplify the process, or I don't want to change the current process. What I want to do is make it easier for people to get to yes and see what they're agreeing to. Right? Have builders be able to streamline their process and not get caught up when work orders, change orders, and delays that were potentially inside our control if we had, understood the client's needs better. Because sometimes you can ask a million questions, and every good builder does, or let's just assume all the good builders do because they're good. And you could still not really understand how much space someone needs when they're baking their Christmas cookies. Right? If we get into that granular nature that some people make decisions about how they use their space and what's truly important to them, at this time they're sitting down with an architect, is really difficult to come up with every single example, right? And they need time, and they need thoughts, and they need, a way to experience the space before it's constructed, because that's what happens, right? It gets framed and they go over to check out their new house and they freak out. Right? And they want to make this change, or this is too big or too small, or this is wasted space, and they wish they would have done something. And so our goal is to amplify that experience on both sides. So from the industry partners being the architect, the builder, or the developer, or the commercial contractor, bringing those groups together so that they can we have people that come in and bring their mechanical team. and do an entire walk with their HVAC, their plumber and their electrician, so they can get a game plan together and start to strategize as a team, where normally they're just following each other and the plumber can't do something because the HVAC guy needed to build a soffit that no one knew or saw. And, it's just a domino effect of these changes that happen, unfortunately, usually in the field, and that cause delays. And so that's a really long answer to some of the benefits we see. And so really it's just, I think a lot of the builders and the companies have great processes, and they've done the best they can with all the tools that are available, right, to help find solutions to these objections and problems. And this is another tool, right? And that is going to eliminate or minimize, right, these typical things that come up in almost every build job.
Yeah, you explained that so clearly, because it's all of those things that you're not necessarily thinking of when you're building, right, as the client. And you don't know until you're in it. And this actually kind of puts you in it, which is so neat, because then you can physically feel the space, which it's a game changer.
Oh, I would have loved to have had that when we were building this house. Right? It would have been so cool. And I'm the visual person like you are.
Yeah.
And my husband's moderately visual, but being able to do this, there's a couple of things in my house I would have tweaked. Not going to lie.
Just for the mechanical.
If we could have done it up front and saved money, because now I'm not going to do it now that my house is built.
Yeah, well, and myself included. I've built twice, and each time I've been like, well, I might have changed that. And it certainly wasn't against the reflection of if I had walk your plans, because that wasn't a thing. But looking back, I know there was things. And I know that there's people that make small changes, even like moving the center island 6 inches, that they will benefit from daily and remember. And so some of the sprinkle or the sparkle effect of the runoff of some of these decisions is through the duration of the enjoyment of the property, right? Including the duration or the enjoyment of the experience they had with the builder, right? Therefore, hopefully running into more referrals or a better client experience, or, really trying to, so in my mind, I think it's easy to see, okay, if people could see it more clearly, that would be better. But I think we have just touched the surface of how it can really benefit the industry and those early adopters, or those that decide to participate and use the new tool, even if they don't feel like they need it. I don't think they realize how much their customer would benefit from it, even if they've been building for decades without it. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. And it really ties into my next question is this for the everyday person or a builder? And I just see both people like having such a need for it and can use it. But how do you envision that? Is it for both, or is it really geared more towards builder, more towards everyday person that's building?
Well, since the title of our podcast, right, is about marketing and business building and things like that, it's for both. Our goal is more of a B2B, right, business to business sales, because those are repeat customers. The consumer, of course, it's for them. They're going to use it once in their lifetime. Right? So the answer is yes. From a business perspective, our time and energy is spent partnering with industry professionals to become part of their process. Now, the client often is bringing us to the table because they're up at night on Instagram and their whole feed is about, kitchen islands and, what are the top 10 things I should do with building a new home. And so they see walk your plans. And so the client can sometimes bring us in. The builder can often suggest it to someone. They're like, I'm fine. I don't really need to do that, until they get there. So every single experience for us, if they haven't bought in just by seeing it on Instagram like I did, like I was just elated, I would have done it instantly. But let's just say the normal human doesn't respond that way. And they're like, oh, that could be cool, maybe, or I don't really get it, or I don't, I can look at my plan on my dining room table or on my computer. Let's just say they're there. Once they come into the studio and really get to see how the brain interacts with the plan at that scale, every single person is blown away. Everyone, we're batting 1,000 on client satisfaction and wow effect from coming into the studio. So for us, it's about, it's people deciding to put it into the budget, because everybody, if we know when they're building anything, is trying to keep costs as low as humanly possible. So it's, do I need that or don't I need it? And so some people make that decision prematurely without knowing more about it, and or builders with their processes are like, well, we could probably get away without doing it. It's maybe just for those couple clients that really have a tough time seeing it. And I know that it's for everyone. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
If it was me and you and we all would make changes to what we built and we can see plans, it's for everyone.
I think it just elevates the whole entire experience from like the builder, like bringing value.
Well, that's how I see it completely. And then that's the opportunity in the sales process to have them also leave seeing that.
Also, as a builder, like the education, like you need to be educating your clients, right? So if you're a first time home builder, what would you be called?
Like you're a first time client, like a customer building a custom home or any home.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know. No. So then to bring this in and say, let me present this with you. So then when you are in your kitchen, you have that extra 6 inches, right? Mm-hmm. Or like your mechanicals fit so much better here and there's no more wasted space. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not going to know that if it's my first time around. So like what a cool thing to be able to add in as like an incentive or like just to really up level the whole experience.
I brought my builder. When you hosted your open house, I'm like, hey, I invited a couple of people and my builder showed up. Yeah. He's like, yep, I wanted to see you and I wanted to see what this technology was all about.
Yep, exactly. Well, and I think that, I think they were impressed by it, right? Yeah. And one of their questions was like, well, they do a lot of big remodels, right? And how does that fit in the remodeling world?
I think that's even better.
And it can be. And I will say, like, maybe it isn't for every single human. And maybe when you're remodeling inside your own personal space and you have your walls and you want to spend the time blue taping your floor, that can be a similar experience, right?
You already want to spend that time.
I mean, I don't. But that's the current process. Okay. The current process is blue painter's tape on the ground, setting up walls.
Okay,
right?
I could see that too. Okay.
And if you're standing in your own kitchen that you're remodeling, but if you're doing an addition and it basically exists when you're staring out your window and you're having trouble figuring it out, or you know, we're downsizing completely and moving into a tiny home and you're trying to figure out like how little of a space you can live in. So it's really just the spatial awareness and trying to get, you know, people to figure those things out and figure out, you know, how will this work for me long term? And I think that for some people, they look at the blueprint and they're like, well, I can do it good enough and I don't need to see it live. That's about the only excuse or reason someone has to not come in. But when that person comes in, they make a change, they're inevitably excited they came in, and they're like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. I wouldn't have made these changes otherwise. And maybe it would have been okay. I'm not saying that they would have built a bad product, right? But this definitely just put the polish on the plan and made sure that it's as good as it could be, right?
I think of all those people that build the kitchens, and you're talking about the island, and they like, Beth, this is what we hate about our house. And they open the dishwasher and you can't get around and you can't have 2 people in the kitchen. They're like, you can't get through here. And I'm like, yeah, because nobody thought about that when they were putting the island in where the dishwasher is. And that is so annoying.
It is like the arguing doors or the dishwasher that opens that you can't open the cabinet doors across from it. Maybe you could physically walk, but the cabinet doors hit it. Yeah. So anything in that cabinet has to be put on the counter, close the door. I mean, we've all been there, right? That's notoriously the center island issue is working with that working triangle, right? And the working triangle, you get a chance to see. We had a builder bring in a plan, and I eventually felt bold enough to be like, you know, the fridge is over there and the stove is on my right and the kitchen sink is all the way on the other side. Like, you couldn't have easily functioned in that kitchen without walking several rounds around the island, right? And so functionally,
you're like, this is a hot mess.
It would drive the person who spends the most time in the kitchen, who's in charge of that organization, it would drive them crazy, right? Whoever that is. We also walked a plan where I eventually said, do we realize that the only toilet on the main level is behind a hidden bookcase or through the mudroom? Like through the back kitchen, through the mudroom. So it was like a half bath for the family. But if a guest was there, you either had to send them through your mudroom or through the office behind the hidden bookcase. Which is cool. Like, I love a hidden pocket, like a hidden door.
Yeah. Not if you're trying to find the bathroom.
Not if you're trying to find the bathroom and tell your client, your friends where it's at.
Yeah.
At a dinner party or something, or the neighbor kid who just wants to go to the bathroom. So, I'm all about a where's your bathroom house. That's what I call them. So kind of like where it's not your typical, like somebody has to ask you, but to have to draw a map and a riddle and a password. I don't know.
Do a little breadcrumb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there is some large things that we do catch, but most of it's fine tuning, and helping the client get really excited and just get to yes faster. So.
Yeah.
This really does feel like a win for builders. I'm just going to put that on the record.
I mean, I don't know why any builder wouldn't add this into like their SOPs and just look like a rock star because it's such new technology.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the client experience, right? It's an elevated experience when you're there. It's in a new construction building. We offer beverages with every
Your
walk.
space is real sexy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we're real excited how it turned out. Yeah, so it is a really fun thing to do for your clients, and it is an effective working tool, right? So it can be celebratory in nature. The other uses for it are like events after or VIP open houses for builders, or even trying to fundraise for large projects or city things, or trying to get your SBA loan and put your plans up. We just had somebody who wanted to use it as like the sales center space, because the sales center isn't going to be built until they get the funding, but they can't get the funding without a certain number of purchase agreements, right, against the build job for a commercial building, right? You have to pre-sell a certain amount.
Yep.
So they can't even build the sales center. So like, well, we could set up all the demos here and schedule appointments here with those people that are pre-qualified and ready and interested, those that would be potentially the purchase agreement writers. But if you can secure purchase agreements on a building that doesn't even exist, right? Because of its address and whatever the renderings they're supplying, right? So put something in, I don't know, downtown Excelsior.
Yeah, you see
right?
that stuff, big condo projects all the time.
And then
you're selling a vision.
Yeah, pre-sales, taking now. So there are people that just bite, right?
Yeah.
Square footage, beds, bath, I'm in. Okay, well,
Location.
Yeah, right? Location, everything. And then you walk them through the plan. Just think about being able to upgrade them to the next building, or to be able to show them what the view looks like from the third floor versus the fourth floor on a video that plays on the wall that shows the view in the summertime when we're standing in the middle of dead winter.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Right?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so there's lots of really cool things that we can do. Yeah. I mean, let's even go electrical walk when it's not 30 below. Why wouldn't you do it in our space? Right?
Yes.
You freeze your tails off.
And know where your can lights are going to go and all your plugins are going to go.
Yeah, so there's lots of little things that it can be used for, that I think, that's why I'm like, we've just kind of scratched the surface. So it's just an amplifier that I think in a lot of different venues can have some cool effects that lots of different parts of the project can enjoy.
So walk us through the process. Like, how does it work? So you come in and then what? Or like, what does that look like as a client? As
a customer, like a buyer, like a home builder, if we it's always hard to figure out what to call those people. Like the person who's going to live in the house and is making like excited person. Our space is considered an extension of whoever booked its office, right? So the builder might have their logo on the floor. If the client builds it, schedules us directly, then it says like, welcome the Anderson family. Right, so they start with.
It's such a cool. It's so cool.
I'm so into every aspect.
Yeah, we start with a dark floor, right, and we have usually the big color rendering on the elevation wall, and the elevation wall is 18 feet high and 33 feet wide. So your house is like about half the size of 50% to scale, which is pretty impressive. So they come in, their house is on the wall, the floor is dark with a welcome sign, whatever is appropriate. And then we do a little bit of get you some beverages, help you set your stuff down, and then we get to work. And we turn the floor on in a blink, and they're standing on their welcome sign, if you've seen their welcome mat, and they start at their front door, and we systematically walk them through the house about 1,200 square feet at a time. We move the floor as they go. If you've seen it on Instagram, you'll see the floor slide as you walk through it. And the goal is to keep the decision makers focused on each space at a time so they can make some functional assessment of how the space works and feels and modify as needed. We have a vibe board that is like a 55-inch big screen that is also actually a tablet. So it's like a humongous iPad. And that's where we have like the full set of plans. And those plans all the plans are sent to us in a PDF. So it's super simple. The plans on the board, we then can redline and make notes. They can be sent instantly after to their architect. We have new technology coming where we can like slide in furniture onto the floor plan to match what they were thinking for the space.
That's so next level. So cool.
Put your sectional here. I mean, this is what the flow is like.
You wonder, is what's going to fit there? How's that going to look?
Yeah. And we ask for a clean set of plans. We call them that, like without the dimensions. And we do encourage the architect to put in some basic furniture placeholders, much like you would stage a house. So a primary bedroom that doesn't have a bed in it is going to always feel a little confusing to the brain. So we still like the king size bed in the primary bedroom to be drawn in, maybe a couch or a sectional, maybe a dining room table, and that's about it. Not every architect has the time, or the clients just don't think how important it is at the time to go to that step, and we can still walk a standard set of plans. But for the client, every dimensional line can look like a wall. And it can be really busy. And so if we start with a clean set, that's the best experience for the client. And now we will be able to, especially if the architect doesn't have time, to pull in the furniture that they want. Or even if they put a couch and 2 chairs and you want to sample a sectional, right? We can get that out of there and then swap in what you had in mind. And that I've seen working. We don't have it yet. That'll be in the next few months that we'll have that.
And then you got a cool conference room in there too.
Yeah. So then after you're done making your changes, then you can sit down and use the conference room. Anybody can Zoom in or watch the session if they can't, if your architect or builder is out of town, out of state, or just unavailable. They can Zoom in and watch it and be part of it that way, or you can recap after in the conference room. It comes with beverages. I think I mentioned that, but like beer, wine, great champagne.
This, like, great little kitchen. Yeah. I mean, it's just like this. It's not a gigantic space, but 1,200 square feet is a lot on the floor. And then this cool conference room and like a mezzanine where you can come up and get like a bird's eye view. Yep. And then you have this great little kitchen and a restroom, and it's like your own little VIP area. It's really cool.
Thank you.
So when someone wants to make a change, they're like, "Oh, this doesn't work." How does that work? Like, what happens there?
They usually, often if they're making large changes, they have their builder or architect at the appointment, right? So then there's a conversation about what it would take, what it would look like, what their options are, and they make a decision. We write it down, or they write it down on the vibe board, take notes, and then move on to the next area. So it takes about, a question people ask is, how long does it take, to walk a house, let's say. So we typically say about 3,000 square feet for an hour. If you're at like one of those, like a 4,000 square foot single family home, that can still be done in about an hour, because you've got some of the assumed spaces that aren't so unique that you don't have to spend a lot of time there. So 3,000 to 4,000 square feet is about an hour. When we get into 5,000 or 6,000 square feet, we see people spend about an hour and a half. Anything more than 6,000 is for sure 2 hours long. And then if we're talking about commercial, we've done 50,000 square feet in an hour.
Wow.
Sometimes because they're duplicated levels, right? It's exactly the same as the floor before. And so then any change we make, we just multiply it by 18, right? Because there's 18 levels and there's 6 of them that are the same. You figure out what size you want your conference room that's duplicated across the board, or you're dealing with, like we did a gymnastics gym. And so we didn't do much with the gym space. It was larger than the building, right? Than the entire building. Our building's in, for the 3, gymnastics floors put together. But the spaces we focused on were like the lobby, the changing rooms, the bathroom, the parents, workstation area, the coaches' rooms, and trying to figure that out. And that was really impactful because against the gym floor, they looked tiny. Blown up in real scale in our studio, they were massive. And they started pulling in. They're like, the children don't need like an 8x9 changing room. They're currently changing in front of a toilet. They just need some privacy. And so we were able to give like 2 feet to the walkway, and they realized, Gladys, who sits at the front desk, needs a bigger desk. She's got so much stuff, or we have all the promo items. And so that would have been way too small. So then you just start like kind of brainstorming and figuring out what the solutions are, where we can borrow extra space, where would the space best be used. And that's exactly how a session goes.
I love that you can do landscape too.
Yes.
You mentioned that when we were there and for the open house, and I'm like, okay, that would have been awesome for all of our landscaping that we've done here.
Yeah, you have extensive landscaping, so any large landscaping project, it's perfect for, because the landscaping is so fun. You get you get color usually because they're putting it on the plants, and you get walkways, and you get pools or cabana areas. I mean, we see now saunas and cold plunge space, like pool houses, cool. Right? Like
See, hey,
you're like, hey, I'm she's pushing for that in the backyard.
I'm working on our wellness space back here.
Yeah,
I don't think our wellness center.
The she shed, I don't think really took off, but now that we're calling them wellness centers with spas and cold plunges, like now everybody wants an outbuilding, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm not on board here, friend.
Yep, no, I want my yoga zen space, and yeah, exactly. So it's been a lot of fun. We get to see a lot of cool, creative people through the studio.
That's really cool. And I like how you're like really thinking outside the box of who would be that end user. Like, of course it's the builder, and of course it's the buyer, but, or the, person that's going to live in the house, but like the other avenues of how it can be used is really cool. And I'm sure your business brain is just going spinning with all the ideas.
And thank you for that compliment hidden in there. And I do enjoy the people that have come through, because they're like the early adopters, and they're the people looking to grow their business. They aren't the guy who's been around. I haven't met a woman yet, so I'll say the guy who's been around for 3 decades who isn't passing the business off to somebody. They're usually kind of slowing down. They're a little uninterested in anything extra.
Technology.
The shoulder shrug guy, right? Like, just, oh, okay, it's cool, but I don't know, whatever, thanks. And that's okay. But the early adopters are like brainstorming fanatics with me. So we're like, oh, we could do this. And my real estate brain is like, how would I sell more properties with this? So that's where we came up with creating it into a sales center for these people. So we're gonna have like standing hours weekly. Like, why wouldn't you be here every Thursday from 4 to 6? And just do an open house. Like, you can't have an open house. It doesn't even exist yet. But put on your huge sign, be like, come here every Thursday, 4 to 6, and you guys can camp out and bring your whole team and get some work done if no one shows up, right? I'm all about creating efficiency, but they can get lots of stuff done in those hours. And if a buyer shows up, perfect. Everybody sit quietly in the conference room. I'll be right back. Right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
This is great.
Especially for those big, huge condo projects where you're, like you said, you have to sell a certain percentage before the bank's like, yep, you're a go.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
People are like, it's a piece of dirt. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. I think about that big co-op in Mound. I went to some janky little commercial space that was vacated next to the gym in Mound. And they had like the floor plans on easels. And I'm like, this is sad. And you're expecting people to buy $1 million co-op.
Right?
But if you had something like this, holy cow, those would have sold a hell of a lot faster.
Well, and people want to see the little easel, right? The janky easel with the plan. So I even told them, like, bring your little easels in. You can make it look just like a sales center. They could be like, I want to see that one, and point right at it. And then we'll blink it onto the floor super fast.
I love it.
So yeah, no, it's been fun. That's why I'm like, it's just amplifying all the way that we think about how we're currently communicating large scales, grand plans to have everybody stay on the same page and get
That's cool. I love how you're using the word amplify. Mm-hmm. It's a good word, and it feels like it totally encapsulates what you're doing.
Well, thank you. And I want to be careful with the word I choose, because there's nothing that's broken about people's current processes, and builders have been creating very satisfied customers. Some of the builders that have come into our studio, I'm honored that they are curious about what we're doing because they have a beautiful book of business. Do they need us? No. Do they want us now? Yes. And they don't have to, right? And so that's how I know we're onto something good, is that they are very successful as they stand. And yet they see the opportunity in bringing like really cool things to their customer. And that those are the people that like our business hearts align, right? How can we make it better for the consumer in the end, even if you're not quite sure yet how to make it work? But there's, like I said, if half the people that have said yes, they're going to use this forever are going to actually do that, like we're on to something huge, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting everybody through and getting the word out and being able to be on cool things like this and, just talk about it, because people don't really understand it other than, well, I guess I could walk on my plan, like they don't get excited instantly. And then it's like a little hum, kind of thing without having more context.
Yeah. Well, let's totally switch gears here.
Okay.
You're a KW girl. I was a KW girl. at KW really focuses on your big why. What's your big why?
Oh man, I am not as much of a KW flag holder when it comes to my big why, because like a lot of people, I think a lot of people secretly at KW aren't sure what their big why is, and that can be a little disconcerting when everybody around you feels like they put the stake in the ground as to why they do what they do. My why has changed and morphed over the years, and how I've always been an advocate of like making it okay for somebody not to know and proceed anyways, because I've seen it hold people back. I have never let it hold me back of why I'm doing this, but I just know that every time I make a decision or get excited about something from a business perspective, that if I balance it against my core values and goals, which are, integrity, providing value to others, creating things that make other people's life easier, not overcomplicating my life too much that I can't still enjoy it, right? I'm real careful about that. Then I proceed forward. And I enjoy building businesses, and I enjoy the challenge of unriddling some of this stuff when it comes to any sort of new adventure. And I only need to be about 70% of the data in order to start moving forward. So my big why is probably to show my kids what it's like to be a girl boss and still have some balance, honestly. I don't feel bad about the time I spend at work. I don't let myself, because I know I do a good job at home. And if I can answer all those questions every day in the right way, right? I did it as best a job as I could at work. I did as best a job I could at home, right? And they're all great days, but did I do my best with what I was given?
Yeah.
And some days obviously I'm not perfect, but as long as I know, like I might have totally had some road rage on the way here, but for that example specifically, but eventually I came to a point of, okay, I'm trying to be taught some patience. I'm just going to lean in, right? So I try to stay really mentally present with some of the decisions I make on a granular level throughout the day. And that's what I'm talking about. So what is my big why is probably around just being a really good example and role model for my kids as to how to work and carve a path for yourself. I don't know a lot of people that do that, right? They get a job and they go to work and then they stay there for a long time. And so I think that's something fun about it. But otherwise, I just really like growing businesses, and then eventually, I don't know, probably grow another one.
Well, I've always loved like how entrepreneurial you are, and you're just like I said at the beginning of the show, like you're always looking for ways to solve problems. And I feel like the Walk Your Plan is just like another like check. She's doing it again.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. It felt really good when I stumbled into it, because I was on the search for a couple of years to find that next thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm like, this is it, right? Mm-hmm. It aligns with who I am. It aligns with what I know. It aligns with bringing all the new value and opportunity to people. So it was just a super good fit, and it's felt good the whole way. I mean, I think about in July, I was like, oh my gosh, we actually did it. Like, we opened this business. Like,
what'd your husband say?
It was a little surreal.
Was it your idea and you're like, hey, take a look? Yeah,
unfortunately, like most things that I'm the pot stirrer, right? He is the take it off the stove guy and let it simmer in a good way. Like, so we balance each other. He tries to balance me out as best he can. Bless his soul. But yeah, he's running Walk Your Plans. So he's who you'll see at a walk. And he's good at, he's good at open houses, right? Like, he's good at greeting people. He's good at making people feel comfortable. He's good at explaining things to people and being patient. He's like a teaching degree, right?
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
He's got a good space and heart for the facility. And I would probably go crazy sitting there trying to run the floor. Like, I probably just, I don't know. I don't even know what that would be like. I'm sure I'll find out eventually, but we're in our right lanes, so it just seemed to match for us with what we could get done and to start something new. And we pray that it works, and if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to work, right? But we've been given no signs of that. So I'm always like, what's the worst case scenario person? And if that were to happen and it doesn't succeed, I know we're still okay. So that's kind of how I'm like, what do I do next? Like, well, all right, worst case scenario works. So we're going. It's like, fantastic.
So what's next for you?
Oh, make this succeed, right? That's my one thing right now. And then eventually, I don't want to say slow down, but change. Like, I want to try to retire. I think because that's what people do. I can't imagine not working or not building a business. So I think that's a weird statement right now for me to say. But I'm 48. My husband's 50. He'll be 54 in a couple months. And so, I don't know, 8 years from now, he'll be 62 if my math is still decent. So like all of a sudden that starts to look like it's on the horizon, even though, you've got an 8th grader. So I kind of feel like that's what's probably next, but I'll probably own like 7 Walk Your Plans and be the CEO of something, or be on some boards. I can't imagine maybe mentoring or helping other women build businesses and have faith in whatever's on their heart to follow it, maybe.
That sounds amazing.
So I think that's the only other thing that's like awesome. That's fallen out of my mouth in the last 6 months without me knowing it, right? I process out loud, so these podcasts are always good for me to figure out what I think. Yeah, so maybe I'll mentor. Maybe I'll keep that one. I'll put that on the list.
I love it.
Yeah.
So where can people find you and find Walk Your Plans?
Walk Your Plans can be found on social media, obviously. Walk Your Plans MN for Minnesota.
Cool.
If you go to our Walk Your Plans. If you go to the regular Walk Your Plans, you'll find the drop down of all the states, and you can still find us that way. But of course, we're on social media, Instagram, Walk Your Plans MN. So if you're going to tag us or like us or follow us, the best way to get in contact is through our website, the Contact Me button. I'm a realtor at heart, so you'll probably get a call in less than 7 seconds. I've rattled a few people on how fast that return phone call is. But yeah, the information's on there. We're in Chaska. So
you're literally right down the street from me. It was so easy to go there for the open house. And I'm like, I had driven by that new construction space. I'm like, I wonder what they're going to put there. Mm-hmm. And then you had the open house. I'm like, oh, literally. I could ride my bike here.
Could ride your bike, yeah. So we're right on the border of Chanhassen and Chaska. Yep. So it's like Chanhassen, Chaska, right? It's by
right
Lifetime.
By the Arboretum.
In the Arboretum off 5, yeah. So I usually tell people like Chaska Highway 5, not Chaska 212, right? Yeah. Like, because that just feels further, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find us anytime. And actually, you just can't stop by because that's one of the beauties and one of the things we liked about it. It's by appointment only. So you're best to find us online, set up a time for an introductory call, or if you're listening to this and you have an industry partner, you can get a free demo. Mention the podcast, and we'll have you in for free to walk a plan.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
this was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was really fun. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Yay. So until next time, bus bench babes.
Remember to keep your face off a bus bench.
And keep being the badass boss babes that you are.
Okay, girls. Are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.